Okay guys, so here's a quick bass fishing tips and tricks video, especially for beginners. So if you're intermediate and advanced, then you can teach me what I'm doing wrong, but I'm just gonna show you guys what's been working for me, especially this time of year, because for me, and actually a lot of other people that I talk to, fishing can get kind of tough in the heat of August here in Indiana. So I checked the water temperature the other day when I was out on the lake, it was 86 degrees. And so I feel like the tactics and strategies need to change a little bit, especially depending on what time of day you're fishing. So let's talk about right now. Today's a different situation because the sun's not beating down super hot and bright. It's overcast, it's nice and cool. We had a cool front come in. I'm not even fishing today, but I wanted to shoot this video for you guys here real quick. And like I said, a typical situation where it's hot and sunny. Here's one of the things I learned when I fished down in Texas. I fished with the semi-pro down there, and as soon as the sun would come up, here's what we would do. We would start fishing shallower water. So what he was showing me was a lot of times these bass will come up and they'll be feeding, you know, whether it be like throughout the night or you know, first light, and we would actually fish in like a lot more cover, right? So like lily pads, which this lake's covered with them. I know you can't see that on camera here, but cattails, you know, any type of reeds coming up, you know, we'd go in there and we'd find these little pockets and we'd just pitch these reeds, and we'd try and throw, like in that situation, we'd throw something chunky, right? So here's like what we call like a creature bait. So we'd throw that in there with some braided line, and we'd usually do pretty good. Anything like a topwater, like a topwater frog, is still working this time of year. So you can throw that, run that through the pads. And the thing I like about the lily pads, especially on this lake here, you can actually, you know, you can see movement. Now, yes, there's gonna be carp, there's gonna be gar, there's gonna be other things that are coming up there, but when those bass start feeding and there's a frenzy going on, a feeding frenzy, a lot of times you can just get right on top of that and throw that frog in there and then just work that through those pads. But you're gonna want a heavier duty rod, you're gonna want heavier line, and that's a great way to start off the morning. Now as the day progresses and goes on and you have that bright sun coming down and it's just getting hot and you're out there and let's say that the bite is not as strong. Well, I've shot this in other videos. Keep in mind that these big bass, the ones that you're looking for, you know, your tournament bass is what I call them. You know, your big ones are going to be in areas where there's a lot more shade, there's a lot more cover, there's places where they can hide and just get out of that sunlight. So right now I'm not actually on my boat today, but I'm standing on a pier. This pier would be a great situation to throw a lure under that pier. So let me show you this situation here. A lot of people know what this is already, but again, if you're a beginner, this is a great little tactic. So right here I have what's called just a wacky worm situation, right? It's got a weedless hook on it, and so we would just kind of flip or pitch this underneath a dock, a pontoon, any type of pier, anything that's going to provide an area of shade. So those bass, like I said, a lot of times in the morning they'll start up in shallower water, they'll feed, and as the day progresses they'll go out into deeper water a lot of times, or the shady spots underneath these items. So that's a great alternative. Another thing that I like to throw is this guy right here. So even this time of year, I especially do well in the spring. Now my theory on this in the spring, now that you can see this is a zoom lizard, and I like to throw these because fish instinctively know that a salamander, a lizard like this, is actually a predator to fish beds, right? So they'll come in there and these guys will actually eat their eggs and try and steal them. So fish instinctively know that, and even if a bass is not hungry, the reason I like to use a good lizard is because you'll get what's called a reaction bite. So they will bite this lure a lot of times just as protection, just as you know, watching their area and territory to make sure that these guys aren't coming in to invade. So keep that in mind. That's quick tips and tricks on how to fish warm water this time of year, and hopefully you guys can wrap up the summer. Happy fishing to you. A lot of things coming up, a lot of changes. We're up here in Indiana. We have the start of the gateway to hunting season coming up, so we're going to be shooting tips and tricks on everything from squirrel to early waterfowl to dove, and just all kinds of great adventures coming. So stay tuned, continue to be blessed. I love you guys. Take care and keep enjoying the great outdoors and God's creation. I'll see you soon.